quality brew at the popular price. Enjoy the best in car and bike. Get Carly's Black Label. Carly's Black Label beer. Label, Black Label. Carly's Black Label beer.
For my generation, certainly, we grew up, certainly the boys, we grew up, trying to find a Playboy magazine to hide under our mattress. That was the biggest thing in the world.
The Playboy Club, the city had never seemed anything quite like.
There were not a lot of magazines like the Playboy magazine at all.
The Playboy Club had a whole different cachet. The Playboy Club, of course, had bunnies, number one. And everybody wanted to be at the Playboy Club.
So growing up with that magazine and knowing what it represented, and passing it around and peeking and all of that, the concept of somewhere being able to actually go, or being old enough to actually go to a Playboy Club, it was almost sort of like something that you just hoped you could do someday. You got all dressed up real fancy, went down there, and all the waitresses were dressed in Playboy bunny costumes with little tails and ears sticking up and very scantily dressed.
As you were admitted, just to the left of you was a neon sign, and it would say, "Member David Smith has arrived."
There was your name, and you felt good.
And that was so cool.
I don't remember really liking it. Just, I didn't particularly like the atmosphere there.
And you were shoulder to shoulder with the crowds, and they had very good jazz and very good food.
It was a fantasy that we grew up with as kids.
It was quite a happening. The 50s was like the opening act of a play, of a two-act play. And things were moving along, and there were things happening.
There was a lot of order. There was a community social order. There was certain behaviors that were expected.
An innocent, sweet time. A very simple time.
Things were building, but everything was kind of benign.
Men would walk on the outside of the sidewalk so that the woman wouldn't get splashed if the car went by. And if you crossed the street, they'd do kind of a stutter step, and then you'd be talking, and then they'd be over on the other side. And, so men would tip their hats when they met a woman, take off their hats in the house.
I hate to say we were simple, but we were simple.
There was whole milk and real butter and real sugar, and there weren't any derivatives or substitutes.
When we were growing up, I believed that everyone had hope, that everyone had dreams, and that if you worked hard enough, you could accomplish those dreams.
It was all about work, and if you worked hard, you could succeed.